Good evening. This is a meeting of the Hampden Board of Selectmen and Board of Health being held in the Townhouse on June 10th, 2024. This meeting is being conducted in person and remotely using video conferencing technology. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're recording the meeting. Is anyone else recording the meeting?
No Dalton yet.
No, yet. Seeing none, he'll chime in when he gets here. Okay. Minutes, May 28th, 2024, regular meeting. We had a reorganization of the board.
Don wasn't here, so we voted him as chair.
The government study committee recommendations, we discussed those briefly. The non-town meeting, we passed them on a town meeting. We discussed the change in the Hampden Wilbraham Regional School District assessment. Had a discussion with the police chief about communications during events. And there was a note that animal control officers, air conditioning in the car needed to be fixed. Vacancies, we'll deal with some of those tonight. We'll deal with some reappointments tonight, some vacancies. Zoom operator, annual town meeting review. Some one-day entertainment license, a two-day liquor license. Wow.
Second, well, one change. Under the executive session motion, it was ongoing litigation. That was Carol coming in.
Where's that? What, without return? Oh, yeah, ongoing.
Yeah.
So instead of pending, Lauren, it should be ongoing.
Second with that change.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, and this was the June 3rd regular meeting. We held it at 5:30 with a little bit different time because we had other commitments. This tie and bond filled us in on the MS4, stormwater progress there. And we talked a little bit about priorities for 2025. Short meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
And Dalton, yeah.
All right. We have, the next item on the agenda is Parks and Rec, couple of requests. Job posting, description, and Memorial Park.
Yeah, so
Maybe a
thank you
report.
guys for having us. I'll just introduce myself for those listening and whatever.
Yeah.
Dan Blanchard, Hampden Parks and Rec Director, Suzanne Shuttleworth on the Board of Commissioners, and Terry Ford also on the Board of Commissioners. We have a couple things to talk about tonight. The first one being is we'd like to request a job title change for the vacated administrative assistant position to a recreation coordinator. And basically the job description stays the same. However, we feel that this new title will provide clarity to the job seekers and the recruiters about the position and responsibilities of it. And the second would be that it would attract candidates that have maybe more skills and more experience in the areas of parks and recreation. So it doesn't make it just an administrative assistant position, which could be for any department. It sort of focuses us on the recreation and finding somebody with experience and skills in that department. One more added benefit of changing it is that keyword searches on things like Indeed and such would bring up, if people are searching for recreation jobs, this title would allow them to better find, a position suited to them. So I can leave it up. If you have questions, happy to answer them. But that's what we're looking to do. The current position, the admin position was a grade 4. This will continue to be a grade 4 position. We are budgeted for actually more than that because the departing administrative assistant was a grade 4, step 3. This will be a grade 4, step 1. So it fits into our fiscal 2025 budget.
So, when I was attending Parks and Rec meetings before the position came up that you now take, it was brought up that a lot of the coordination that the board was working on, because the board should be in charge of coordinating, right? And they felt they were overburdening the administrative assistant with coordination.
Yep.
And that was the whole point, I thought, of why we had the director position to handle the coordination and oversight of programs.
Sure. Fair enough.
To take that workload off of the administrative assistant, because she had a job to do, but was getting overwhelmed by all this other work.
Yeah, so fair question, fair point. So since I've come on, we've increased programming about 400% in 9 months. We've gone from offering about 4 things to the town to 19 or 20, over 20 in the 9 months since I've been here. And I've had touches from start to finish on every one of those programs. And it's sort of like, I can't touch them all. Like, if we want to keep adding and grow the Parks and Rec and offer new things to the town, I can't continue to strictly do all program coordination. The other answer that I have to that question is that since I've been here, we've started taking online registrations, which has eliminated a tremendous amount of admin work. So it, short of this job title change, sort of doesn't change the job description, but it changes the allocation of the position. There's more freedom and more time to help and assist with program coordination, since we've alleviated a tremendous amount of admin work with not taking paper registrations anymore.
So Suzanne and Terry, I know the whole board's not here. Do we have anybody online from the board?
No.
No. So has the board formally voted and gone behind these changes?
We've agreed to those changes. Everything that's listed in our proposal is something that Kristen used to do, so it's not
Right, so
really.
the board has discussed changing the title from admin to coordinator and
Yeah.
still keeping up with the coordination rules rather than pulling them back like originally intended?
We've discussed it,
And voted on it?
we haven't had an official vote on it yet because we were gonna bring it to,
So the whole board hasn't weighed in yet on the change?
the whole board's been present.
Oh, yes, the whole board has had.
But did you have a formal, I mean,
We haven't had a formal vote.
because I go back with Craig's thing, pardon me interrupting, I look at this and like, Dan's doing a great job,
Yes,
but these things listed here are part of Dan's job. And what he's been brought to the table with the new programs, et cetera, is different than the admin assistant. We had a rec director with admin assistant before. We had 2 people in those jobs for a number of years. And one was clearly the admin assistant, and one was clearly the rec director. And I see this blur here, and I think people are gonna question, well, you have this full-time person, why is some of that stuff moving down to this role? I think it's a valid question.
So
I do go back to, and this is gonna be maybe to your second point there, how much is on us that we can go in and speak to this type of thing? You are an independent body. You're an elected body. You have 2 hired people, and you're possibly changing the title of each. But we do have HR responsibility over that as well. And we appreciate the fact, I do, that you're coming in and talking to us about it. But I think as Craig said, do we have full clarity that this has been
I just wanna
fully
make sure
vetted by
the
the board?
board's done their diligence and voted on it for the next step. If that's the direction the board wants to go as entirety and it's voted on and approved in a vote, then, you know, it's your decision.
So correct me if I'm wrong, so we have our meeting tomorrow night, and
Okay.
we kind of wanted to bring it to you, to get approval from you guys first, and, your blessing, I guess, and then they were gonna
Yeah.
formally vote tomorrow.
And I know you said it falls within the pay scale and structure of the current chart from the Collins Institute.
Yeah.
But should us changing the title change any of those descriptors down the road that may necessitate a wage increase for somebody looking?
So-
Are we over promoting the job now? Where it's gonna have
Opening
to
of the door.
open the door to now, oh, well, we're not gonna get qualified candidates because we're looking for something under pay of what a coordinator would make. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And again, just to echo, John, I think you've been doing a great job increasing the programming. I'm
Thank
just
you.
trying to make sure we're following the right.
Yes, so I'll address that one first, I think. I think actually the board was most concerned about is that by adding this recreation coordinator, that it would be a lower level position. Because if we look at the job titles of each group in the town, they were, the board was concerned that all of the coordinator positions were grade 3. And their concern was that there may be some unrest in the people that work in the town that, why is this coordinator a 4 and we're 3? So, I think that has been looked at and, I've done a lot of research on the Collins report from what I could find. And the difficult part of researching with the Collins report is they give you the criteria, say, of what each position is, but they don't tell you what they did in their research to come to the title. When they said it was an administrative assistant or whatever, they tell you what the bars are, like, direct reports and admin duties and all these other things. They don't tell you, how they came to the conclusion of that job description. It's very difficult, I'll be honest with you. The Collins report, to research how they came to the levels that they did is very difficult to discern, so.
And I know
think
we're
we've done-
probably just playing a game of semantics between recreation coordinator and administrative assistant, but I just wanna make sure that.
Fair, and to your point, about that's what I was hired to do, yes, absolutely, and I'll continue to do that. I will be making the contacts, creating new programs, all the creative part of it, but having assistance with coordinating the programs and all those touches, scheduling, going to meet them the first time to let them in the gym, having assistance with that will allow me to do things like I'd really like to do a rec facility in town. I would really like to look at, what was the other big thing that I wanted to do? Now I can't remember.
Pickleball?
I got 3 more, for everybody out there, there's 3 more pickleball classes coming, so. But no, it does free me up to do bigger projects that I'm interested in doing, like I would love to do a master rec facility in town somewhere. And there would be a lot of work that goes into that. Grant writing was the other one, it just came to me now, so, there's more that I can do as a director than just program coordination, I can take a step too with having assistance with the programs and the coordinating. I can also increase grant writing and other things that may be, of greater importance or higher level, so. That's what I got for you, what we got for you.
And this is to fill the current interim position?
No, this is, well, yes, this would replace the interim position, yes.
Okay, original. No, I have the updated one. Mouse.
What you got there?
This is, he's just gonna.
I was
copy the
questioning,
Collins
looking at the
report.
different
The
classification.
grades.
We had a chart, I wanted to see, Terry was referring to a lot of 3s out there.
Yeah.
And I really don't see that, what we've done over the past few years, with the current chart we have. When we talk about 3s, somebody who's a grade 3,
Yep.
it might be the library assistant, which I don't think is what we're talking about here with coordinators, et cetera. So I really don't think there's any other coordinators in the town employment that are 3s at this point.
So I'll have those on that.
2s or 3s. We were looking at the different job titles.
Yeah, we're looking at the current people that we have. And the board has done something, we had, remember, requests to admin assistants, there should be a grade 4, et cetera, and we took care of those in the past few years, so you might be looking at old
might have
chart
been
or
an
something
old-
like
okay.
that, yeah. So, again, I kind of echo where
we have-
Craig was going, that I think there's a bit of a danger that there's a blend of jobs there. And like your explanation right now, Dan, was very good, that by, I don't want to say delegating, but shifting some of that, I want to call it mundane, but the day-to-day stuff allows you to take that top-level view looking at programs. So
exactly
that's
what it is.
admirable. Again, back to the same thing, this may not be in our purview.
Right, and.
We appreciate the heads up, but,
Okay, well, I
back
just,
to-
when it comes to the Collins report and HR, that's
Yeah, I
why,
just wanna
it's
make
kind of
sure-
a mix, right?
Right.
So that's why we're,
I guess, whatever the chief procurement officer thinks if it fits in line, then it fits in line.
we go back to, you have a budget, and if you're going to hire,
yep.
at this point, that's the number.
Absolutely,
Who would-
understood.
Who would the new person report to, the board or the director?
I'll let you guys answer
Well,
that.
the new person, part of the responsibilities would be from time to time attending our meetings, or bi-monthly meetings, well,
Right, but-
bi-weekly
but-
meetings.
The new position would report to me, right? Like,
Yes, yes.
Because then you report directly to the board.
Yeah.
It's kind of the hierarchy.
And then under your direction, you might say, look, I'm gonna bring this person to the next meeting, they can better explain what's going on. And it gives the board a little more confidence in what that person is doing as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and they'll, I mean, to be honest with you, they'll probably be at every meeting because they're gonna take the minutes. I mean, they're still gonna have admin
Right.
duties that
Right.
they're doing, so, they're gonna be at 95% of the meetings or 90% of the meetings.
They're gonna need a bigger boat.
How many hours is it now?
Same, it's 24 now.
Still continue to be 24.
And all honesty, it could be a struggle to find someone, we're gonna be flexible with what, we get in for resumes and, for me, it's mostly hiring personality and working with that person, so we're flexible on we might not get anybody with rec experience, but at least this change gives us the opportunity to maybe get some more resumes.
You think you'll get a greater reach?
Yeah. With someone with experience in rec,
Well, starts with your board, right?
And you'll
We're good?
check with Brian.
Right.
You decide.
I mean, obviously, board's gotta approve it, and then, whatever path you wanna go, just make sure
Of course.
Brian's in the loop and
Yep.
you check with him, make sure it follows all the column standards.
Awesome, so we're good?
Splash pad.
Okay, and the other one is just sort of this is like we're looking for guidance, help, / whatever you can provide. So I don't know how much you've seen, the residents are kind of a little bit unhappy about the overcrowding at Memorial Park and the spray park. From the Facebook blowback and, comments on Facebook and social media, they'd really like to see some sort of charge for non-residents to the park in order to alleviate some of the overcrowding. They believe their tax dollars are going, they're going towards the park, and we have all non-residents who aren't paying tax dollars in to use this park. And so a lot of them are coming, they're saying it's too busy, I can't go, and I understand that 100%. So the board, myself and the board has been talking a lot about, ways that we can do this, and there are a ton of logistics that go into this. There's a lot of different ways we could go. And, I guess our first main concern that we wanted to bring to you tonight was if we start charging non-residents for, access to the spray park, we're trying to keep it so that it's not a full pay park just for the splash pad experience. Do we open ourselves up? Do we need to, consult with town council about opening up ourselves to liability if we start charging non-residents to use the splash pad?
How does
I
Long
respond
Meadow
to
do
this.
it? Cause I know Long Meadow has,
experience.
with their senior center, they charge for just their
I
splash
had a lot of
pad.
experience.
That's it, I haven't done my due diligence on that, and I should do that.
I know
They
my
are in
mom
spec.
was a non-resident, and she would buy a pass to take my kids there.
Yeah, Wilbraham has that too for
Yeah.
a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
If I could share,
Yes,
so
please.
you might think this has come around again. As you know, my wife was chairman of Parks and Rec
Okay.
when the splash park was built.
Okay,
This came up at that time. You talk about Facebook now, back then it was the Mass Live chat groups. And that had
Message boards?
all the messages back then.
Yeah.
They spent 2 years on researching, as you might, going back to, I think it was Dave Martell was the town attorney at that time.
Okay.
What could they do legally? Who was gonna be there to enforce it? And then again, you had camp time, so you're shutting everybody at that time. It wasn't as easy as, okay, we're putting the gate up. You're right, it's a big problem. They came back to the board at that time, it was strictly the call of the Parks Department. And Don could probably recite the MGL that gives the park commissioners authority over park land.
okay.
I appreciate you coming back in. These things are cyclical. They come back around again. People are concerned. The key thing, legal counsel. It's gotta be, because is it a right? Are you violating? Oh, you're paying my taxes. Then you get into, Craig might say, well, my aunt's gonna bring my child down. My
Right.
child lives in town, but this person is a resident, but they're the guardian at that time. Who handles that? Oh, I don't have my ID. It's a hornet's nest. It really is. And that was what I think at that time, the board just kind of, I don't wanna say walked away from it. It was too big to handle, or you were gonna have pretty much a full-time person, not the maintenance person who is here, there, and everywhere.
Got it.
You're gonna have a full-time person at the gate and a potential for dispatch on quick dial. Because this person is arguing with me and they need somebody down here to help me.
But the other question I have on that too is, what are the safety implications of the splash pad? Has there been any medical incidents there where there should be a trained, CPR certified person, like a lifeguard, but not a lifeguard?
Right, and that's part of the question of this whole liability thing, as soon as we staff this, it's not only the pay, but it's a staff park now, so what is the responsibility of that person? I mean, so we've just gone through certifying all of our summer program with first aid and CPR, for the summer program counselors, and this person would have to, obviously be CPR certified, but, John, it's good to hear that you sound like you've definitely heard it before, because these are all the things.
Live with it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so these are all the things that we're talking about now, and it is not easy, so.
There was a reported incident where two kids were running and one kid ran into another kid and one kid fell down and got
Hit their head.
hit their head.
The ambulance was called this last weekend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's two examples you can look into, Long Meadow and Don suggested Wilbraham,
Correct, yeah.
see how they're structuring it, see how they're working it.
Okay,
How many people show up there?
we've had over 100
A lot.
multiple days, inside, on the pad, inside the fence.
Saturday and Sundays are nice weather days. We get a lot of families in, a lot of them from out of town.
It's a very difficult situation, because we see the demand from the town for this, and there's not a clear-cut answer,
Well,
so.
Let me tell you, just elaborate off that a little bit. Another demand that I hear is, summer months when camp is open.
Yeah.
Taxpayers feel like they should be able to use the splash pad during the day when it's the hottest time of the summer.
Okay, I haven't heard that one yet, so.
You haven't heard
thanks.
that? Well, when summer camp is running,
Yeah, okay.
multiple people have asked me, why can't we use it during the summer?
Yeah.
And,
Safety, yeah.
again, same concept, is summer camp growing to the point where maybe it should be relocated so that residents have access to the splash pads during summer months when, families are home?
That would be great if we had a master
Yeah.
rec
So-
facility that we could send them
It's
to.
just one of the things that I hear that I can't answer,
Yeah,
so just to
Okay.
put it in your court.
I do wanna
When they
mention
have camp, they don't use the splash
it's
pad,
closed, the Memorial Park is closed, the gate
Yeah.
closes from 8:30 to,
but the campers don't use the splash pad.
they do.
Yeah, they use,
Okay. Is there a concession stand there?
They do a snack shack once every Friday of every week, they do one snack, and we just did our license for that, so. But, okay, so,
I just want to mention, there's a public use statute in Massachusetts, if you allow the public to use a land and not charge for it, it's a different legal liability standard. If you charge to use land, then it's a negligence standard. If you don't charge it, it's a willful standard, so it's a higher legal standard, so. I think we would need to probably talk to council as to how we would structure things.
And yet the other option is you put a gate at the front and you have people checking passes, right?
That's
Like,
the-
for like Look
yeah,
Park, Forest Park.
Saying.
but then.
Then you're done staffing it.
Then you get into, you're into staffing, you're into, okay, you have a visiting baseball team coming in to play at Nickham, and now, are we gonna really make them, pay to watch their kids play baseball? And I don't,
If
in
they're
my
coming
eyes,
from-
I
if they're
don't
coming
wanna
from
do that.
Wilbraham, yeah, they're gonna pay.
We also talked about providing like parking stickers to
Right.
in-town residents and not,
But then
Charge
we
for
run into the same issue with
Yeah.
that too, so, okay, anyway, well,
Sounds like you guys got a lot of discussion.
Okay, thank you. And so,
we've
but-
discussed
oh.
it already, so we can kind of go run in
and I
circles.
can take this offline with Brian, but what's the the process of using town council, I've never done that, so can someone guide me in that direction of how?
Yeah.
You asked the board for
You have to
permission
give,
to.
you have to ask more for permission, then you just email the town council what your questions are.
Okay. Should I ask for that now, or should I go back and have more discussions with my board?
I think I'd like to see it more quantified and
Okay.
maybe, because we're not, it's a blank check and we don't want that, it's.
Okay, fair, that's what I'm asking, yeah.
Also, and let me do this for you first, let me contact some people and see if I can find the notes from before. Because really, the concerns haven't changed, even though it was 20 years ago, it's the same thing. How do you handle relatives? How do you handle staffing?
guardians.
you know, these things, like I say, are cyclical, they come back up again, and nothing really changes.
Yeah.
So, let me get that to you,
Great, that'd be great,
and that may allow you to focus where you're going from there.
perfect, that's.
How's the parking there?
Parking's been decent. We have there's the overflow spot now with it's kind of in the field on the, if you're
Yeah.
going down on the right-hand side. I don't believe I haven't heard of any major parking issues where that lot is full as well. You know,
It
people
was
are
pretty
coming.
busy this weekend.
Was that?
When I was down there Saturday,
Yeah.
that overflow was pretty full.
Yeah.
But there was space though,
Well,
right?
there was two games that simultaneously, plus
Yeah.
back-to-back games.
Yeah, there was 3 games
Yeah.
at Veterans and then 1, I think, at
Nick,
Nichols.
yeah.
All at the same time.
So, just outside the box thinking, what if you had RFID cards for triggering the splash pad? And then you say, you know, you got a cousin or somebody that's coming in, but they live in town, you have an RFID card and you can turn the splash pad on. And then what's it stand for, like 15 minutes?
Yeah, that's not terrible. But once it's on though, it's like, you know, you have one person there with a card, that's all you need to have it go for everybody.
And
But it's
obviously,
something, it's something.
there's realms of abuse anywhere,
Of course.
but if, you know, if everybody had a card, then you know they have access.
It does, yeah,
So far.
something to consider, yeah.
Just
Keep them coming.
a brainstorm.
And hypothetically, if we would be looking to hire individuals to take money for entrance, or
Can we discuss just the weekends, starting with just the weekends possibly as, you know, one
we would
thing?
need to have that as a line item in our budget added for the town meeting.
Yes,
It's costly.
For,
Next year.
Right, next year.
For 26.
I don't,
it's
We
not
don't
gonna
have it for
happen, it's not
25.
gonna happen this
I
year.
don't,
No, I don't
no,
That's done, but it would be 26.
right,
good,
Right,
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
thank you.
thank you.
We're just gonna look for some,
What?
just gonna look for some of our notes from before.
Yeah, from back 100 years ago.
Oh, like I say, if you already paid for Martell's time before, hey, right? At a cheaper rate, much cheaper rate back then.
Planning board clerical help, anybody from the planning board on or here or?
I'm here.
Okay.
Hey,
What's the deal?
Joanne needs some help. So, we've got quite a few public hearings going on, that have been extended throughout the year that are all kind of piling up throughout the summer. So she's asked for a little bit of help, like 4 hours a week to help with typing of meeting minutes, filing, and, helping her with changing any zoning bylaws.
How many hours a week does Joanne work now?
I think she's 20. She splits her time between planning board and ZBA.
So there's no chance that she'd wanna take on an extra hour, 4 days a week?
I mean, we could ask her, but I think the intent is that there's stuff that she can do and then have somebody else do some of like the
All the reason I was
lighter
asking,
stuff.
because it says she's looking for 4 hours per week, or you're looking for 4 hours per week extra, so, I was just trying to think of, you know, instead of going through benefits and hiring, could we extend her hours? You know, 1 hour per day for 4 days to get that 4 hours per week?
Yeah, I can ask her. I didn't consider that.
I did, I did ask her that question and
Okay.
she said no.
She said
yeah,
no.
I
Yeah.
did get the sense from her she wasn't interested in, maybe,
Madison, is 4 hours a week, I don't understand, the 4 hours a week for 17 weeks, where did the 17 weeks come from? It's just, is this a guesstimate when you'd
I
be
think
out
it's to
of?
get us to town meeting since we've got like 3 potential warrant articles, so it's to support her through that effort.
Is 4 hours a week enough? I mean, realistically, a person is 1 hour a day, or one day, 4 hours, I mean, is that enough to? I mean, I know, like, for instance, the zoning bylaws that are online right now, there's a few things that need to be changed in there because the temporary solar moratorium was, you know, taken out, so that should be deleted, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of things, plus there's the whole laserfish thing going on, so I'm wondering if we don't really need more hours.
Yeah, I kind of assumed it was gonna be more. She felt like 4 would be enough to help her. So we can talk to her more about it though.
I mean,
this highlights the need for that floating person.
Well,
in
so
town
do we have
hall. Right,
a utility clerical person?
you know,
or maybe a park and rec can't find someone who wants 20 hour job that They pick up an extra 8 doing, heck, the cemetery clerk, the whatever,
Water
we have
commission.
big needs.
I mean, I just don't know who
Sure.
you'd find for 4 hours, it's like, not worth their time to come in.
Right.
Right.
I think
But I mean-
it'd be wise for us to bundle a person.
Right,
I mean, maybe if we got we're looking for cemetery, we're
well,
looking
I
for
think
someone.
like cemetery needs, I don't know.
I heard from
I think it's,
conservation today.
Hmm?
I heard from Bonnie from conservation that,
she'd like some help, or?
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, if you have 10 for cemetery, you have 4 for this, you have a couple for water commission. Pretty soon you get a 20-hour week job here. Yeah. Monday is this, Tuesday is this,
Right.
so,
alright, maybe what we'll do is really look for a utility person and to fill in a few places.
Right.
So this isn't a no, it's a, we gotta figure out how to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
hey, Don, can we go ahead and do 6:45 since we have Matty on?
What's 6:45? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. This is the, Matty, this is the, I don't know what it is. Oh, it's the zoning, changing the zoning bylaw to, from selectmen to select board.
yep,
And, so we wanna do a formal transmittal so that you guys can start the 65-day clock running, so you have time to do it for the fall town meeting. The amendment would be amend the zoning bylaws of the town by substituting the term select board for board of selectmen, and then select board members for the word selectmen in each and every place either one appears in the bylaws. It's pretty simple, straightforward. So,
47 spots.
yeah,
47 spots.
well, that's all? Oh,
It's not, it was something like that. I searched it the other day.
And if you get that temporary person, they can actually do all
They
the
could do that,
typing, yeah,
right.
right.
and then we have to do it in the general bylaws too. I don't know how many are there, so. We have a vote to transmit it to them,
So moved.
I'll second for discussion.
okay, and go ahead.
I'm not in favor of it, but okay, I think it's, I applaud what the government study committee has done, but I really put this down at number 10 to 15 on the list of, they had a lot of important things they brought forward. As I said, town meeting attendance to me was a higher priority.
I
This is
think
something
that-
haven't been on the board for a while, and knowing the 3 women who served on the board, Judy Hanmer, Ginger Green, and Mrs. Glover, I really never saw an issue with any of them, and I'm pretty good friends with Ginger and Judy, that they ever had any qualms about serving on the board of selectmen.
They didn't, they never did,
No, they didn't, they were proud to be.
and neither did Mary Ellen.
I think, I mean, Hank was more proud of Judy than Judy was, so,
But I guess,
but if it's a sign of the times, I got that.
yeah,
I don't think by submitting the transmittal to the planning board is any vote on our board to change the name, it's just more of.
We're
doing
not
due diligence.
endorsing it per se, we're
We're not
just,
endorsing it, we're just saying we're following the procedure, it still has to go through their public hearing for the public to comment on.
and then
it
it
still
has to
has to
go,
pass town
then it
meeting.
has to go to the town meeting.
Right, so all we're doing is asking for transparency, I think.
Right.
Not that I say, we're not.
no, I endorse
endorsing
the
it.
transmittal,
Right,
transmittal.
that's
basically, yeah.
kind of what I'm leaning at.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, all right, and I'm gonna be there, Wednesday night. on
Yes,
the-
sir.
Huh?
Yes.
What day is it?
Yeah, I said, yes, sir. You'll be there Wednesday night.
Okay,
You're
yeah,
there
okay,
also?
good, all right, huh?
You're there, oh, for what?
Battery energy
Because we have,
storage.
Wednesday is, 2 public hearings, I think, right, Matty? One for,
I think one is being continued though, right?
Correct. One's a continuance, another one, I don't think should take too long. It's
well, you got
Casilius.
Casilius and you got, Al Joyce, or
Yes. Can't find my
Thresher Road and Casilius, right?
Yes. Thresher Road's continuance. Burley Road, I think we just have to update their plan that they
So,
are filing.
so Thresher is from a continuance, or it's going to be continued?
It's continuing a continuance.
Oh, so we're not taking action, all right,
Correct.
all right.
Then you can come to the fiber meeting afterwards.
Right. Okay, that's it, thank you.
Thank you very much. See ya.
Bye. All right, dispatch IMA. Anthony, are you there?
Here.
Aye, aye. And they're going live the 17th?
Yep, phase one is gonna go live 17th. That's taking their 911 calls and dispatching them.
And what's the second phase on July 1st?
That'll be taking all calls, non-emergency and emergency calls, and dispatching all of them right from the Wilbraham Center.
Okay.
What is your anticipated call volume expected to go to?
Oh, that's a good question. Belchertown does about 3,000 911 calls a year. So, and it's hard to determine how many non-emergency calls through the business line, because sometimes they don't require a response, or we just handle it internally without sending somebody. But usually 90% of 911 calls need some type of response.
And your staffing is up to par and adequate, and you got enough people on board?
Yep. So starting July 1st, we'll have 3 on the day shift, 3 on the 4 to 12 shift, and 2 on the overnight. But on the weekends, we'll have 3 on the overnight. So on the weekends, it'll be 3, 3, and 3.
And you're always on call anyway, right?
Yeah, affirmative.
Okay,
All right, I read it through, it seems fine to me,
well, there you go.
I have no issue.
You said there was a change, I think, Anthony, I think when you and I were talking before, just a change on the way that the quorum was working, is that what
Yeah.
you had said?
Yeah, I think there was something in there. I forgot who brought it up, but something to do with if we have a
5
quorum, but at least one person from each community had to be there.
Right, right,
Okay, that was what it was.
yeah. Yeah, we didn't have we have quorums for, everything except 5, but it's in there now, I see. So. Motion to approve.
So moves.
Second,
Any further discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye, we'll sign it and get it over to you, Anthony.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
All right.
Tony.
How's that radio going?
I got 2 of them coming in for you.
All right, great.
Whoa,
I'll hold you to that now.
Okay,
it's on record.
all right, okay, annual board appointments, board and commission appointments. This is something we traditionally do in June, we have a list, rather lengthy, we gotta sign. How
Is
many,
there like a summary page or just?
how many copies do we need to sign to this,
Oh, that.
I believe just one.
the IMA?
I believe you could do just one,
And then afterwards, you think we get a copy?
unless they wanna do it in full, and
All
then
of
we
them
can do it
signed,
three.
yeah.
My fingers don't work. All right, Wilbraham Board of Selectmen, Hampden Board of Selectmen. Then we're gonna get a copy back with everybody's signature on it, right?
That's what I like, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yep.
All right. So we have the fire department appointments.
Roll that paper. Can we do a consent agenda for appointments?
Basically, yes. I would read the names, right?
We can, I'll read the names. Edward Poulin, Chief, Patrick Farrell, Deputy Chief, Scott Rumpler, Captain, Mark Barber, First Lieutenant, Timothy Evans, Second Lieutenant, Nick Bertrand, if these are full-time firefighters, Nick Bertrand, Joseph Borowick, Brendan Kennedy. The call firefighters are Josh Sterling, Jonathan Caddo, Jonathan Fitzgerald, Ryan Fitzgerald, Landon Gursky, Peter Hatch, Daniel Loftus, Corby Marini, Jason McCarthy, Andrew Netherwood, Nicole O'Donnell, Christopher Patrick, Sharon Marie Paquette, and Evan Rogani, and probationary call firefighter Thomas Medeiros. Appointment for,
Move to reappoint for the fiscal year, I guess.
yeah, July.
Fiscal year of
Yeah.
FY '25.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
was
that's-
Megan not on there?
I actually saw her up there too, but
Did she
maybe
look
that
there
was,
recently?
was she responding for action at that time while she was up there?
No, I think sometimes she was taking per diem shifts in the past, so.
Could you,
Jean gave me all the slips, so I don't,
oh, could you just check for Megan Rogers, and we can always do it next week.
Like I said,
And
did
then
you work
was-
for Adam, for action now, right?
If she works for, she fills
I
in
think
for
that's why she
action
was
from
up
time
there.
to time, yeah. There's police department appointments,
Josh on there too, did I hear? Josh on there, Sterling?
no, one of them left,
Just,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, Josh is there.
Josh, okay, I missed him.
It's the other one, the left.
Right.
okay. All right, police department, Chief Trombley was a contract, Detective Jason Roth, Sergeants Michael Cooney, Thomas Yvonne, and Michael Meany, Matron Julie Zimmerman, police officers Jeffrey Wojcik, Jeffrey Beatty, William Jakes, Matthew Chaplin, Sean O'Clair, Tawan Siga, Kyle Capucci, James Galeas, Todd Schneider, Christopher Driscoll, James Gormley, these are reserve officers, Michael Kane and Kevin Connor.
So moved.
Was there one missing? Oh, no, never mind, no, I missed the name, go ahead.
So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Well, parking clerk, Eva Weissman.
They've done a great job. I don't see why it changed.
We need to get a little cart, drive around.
That would be great.
Okay. Motion?
Oh, a bit of
So
consent for,
moved.
Let's
are we
see.
doing these one
are
by
part-
one?
Okay, well, Eva Weissman, parking clerk, Cliff Bombard, town accountant.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the building department, I got Wendell Hulbert, Dennis Chafee, plumbing and gas inspector, Gerald Nichols, plumbing and gas inspector, alternate, Gary Courtney, electrical inspector, and Eric Foisey, electrical inspector, alternate.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The senior building committee, John
Okay.
checked.
Right, so I'll make a point that we had a meeting this morning. I did bring up, per Don's request, were they interested in being reappointed? Enthusiastically, definitely all of them. They are going to look for a person to fill the vacancy and recommend that person to the board of selectmen. So I'll bring that person forward in the near future.
Okay, so we have Don Collins, Cliff Bombard, Mike Fedora, Bobby Grant, Carol Keeney, John Matthews, Mike Duran, and Gary Weiner.
Just make another point that Don did step down as chair and the board did vote Gary Wayner as chair.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The board does have two ex officio members,
yeah.
Becky Moriarty and myself.
So, right,
So,
okay.
I don't know if those need those don't get appointment slips. In the past, ex officio never have.
We're not
so I
voting
don't know
members,
if you-
so.
Right,
This is the water commissioner. The water commissioner, Greg Rivers.
your
Greg Rivers
chance,
or
your
whatever.
chance, John.
Either one. Doria Priscillo for the board of registrars, and we'll do it as a group.
Is Paul up for,
No, Paul's not.
Next year, I believe.
He's next year?
He's next year.
okay, cause I thought he's been on for 3 years already.
Okay,
So moved.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. On council on aging, Cliff Bombard and Anne Marie Villamiano.
Yeah, so they were their meeting is tomorrow morning, but Becky said she had already verified that they were both interested in
Okay.
staying on. There is an opening for another under 60
Another
appointment.
60,
So,
okay.
make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's all we got for
That's it?
tonight. That's all we
Hard
got
to
for
believe that's
tonight.
it.
That's all we got for tonight, for those. We gotta sign all these.
Stan.
That'll take the rest of June.
Okay, all right,
Stamp.
what else we got? We have a, selectmen reports.
Basically just heard what I said about the building committee, did a bit of recap, and then basically focus on going forward. Where do we go from here? What have we learned? Go forward. They would like an opportunity in the next month or so to, after their discussion is to meet with our board and see if we can map out a plan going forward. Okay. And planning, you already heard from Maddie what's happening with that this week, couple public hearings, one of which does include this from the board, basically, the transmittal for the change for Casilius's property, which is up by Logan's Drive at the top of Burley Road, after Melville's. Remember, right? Oh, he's clueless. It really doesn't affect board health, but it's part of like Don's, the circle going around. They're changing a bit of the substandard frontage on the application.
Fiber optic committee meeting on Wednesday at TWB from 6 to 8. That's a community input session. We want to hear from the community about their wants and needs for municipally owned fiber optic network. Questions and concerns they may have. We may not have all the answers at this meeting, but we're looking to gain information to be better prepared to be able to answer questions in the future and see what the overall feel is from the community.
Conservation Commission met last week on the 530 Glendale. The continuance, it'll be the 25th, I believe, as another continuance of the hearing. And the master plan steering committee is holding a public forum on Monday, the 17th, to be held at the Bethlehem Church. There's information on the town website about that. Town administrator?
The work on the installation of the EV chargers at the senior center is scheduled to begin the week of, or tentatively scheduled to begin the week of June 17th. I think the board had received an email, I was on the email, in regards to the fall town meeting and whether the board wanted to put some type of questionnaire out with a town mailing about, in relation to having, the residents' preference to a weekend versus weeknight town meeting, or whether childcare would be something that would allow parents to attend town meeting. So there was that request that came in that email.
Or the starting time, Don, it was 6:30 in Wolverhampton, wasn't it?
Yeah, 6:30.
Yeah, that might be a thing too. Because there is no restriction on the special town meeting. Yeah. I'd like to get that, one thing that did come up before, and Don, I think you've mentioned it, that we gotta bring some things to closure. So if we're gonna decide about this, I think we need to wrap this up by July 1st and put it out there, this is what we're gonna do.
When we're gonna have the town meeting, Win?
Well, and how we're gonna do it, exactly, Craig made the point, childcare he thinks is important too, and I think he's right about that. Opportunity for people to attend, maybe 7 o'clock on a Monday night is not that good without childcare. 6:30 might be better, Saturday afternoon might be better, who's to say? But I think we gotta examine it, make a choice and go with it. We could pontificate on it forever, but we gotta be a little better at just, pick something and go. If it doesn't work out, we'll change it.
Definitely
None of this
change
stuff
it.
is in granite, except the monuments around town,
We should also be.
which we're looking at.
This particular fall town meeting, we gotta be cognizant of the presidential election, early voting is gonna start at some point, so the town clerk will probably be tied up and stuff, so we gotta.
I have to say, maybe that's when we pull it forward a week, right?
So. Anything else to come before the board?
And one other thing, in light of that, and the fact that we've requested a meeting with the school committee to talk about Thornton Burgess.
Yeah.
We have a proposal to look over the building from Time Bond, and I can't remember what the number was, maybe 50, 60,000 or something like that. We talked about where to get the money, and I'm gonna put it out there. We have an agreement for Phase A for a certain number for the full thing, offset by as much ARPA as we can.
Are you talking about water?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think this is a kick the can down the road thing, and we need to be able to walk into that school and look, we want to get something done. We've engaged Time Bond to look over the building, and we're gonna get some numbers here. And I'd like the board to consider saying, you know what, let's give that number, let's say Time Bond, go ahead and do it. Great time to do it, the program
Will be out.
over, they can go right through it. And we'll at least say ARPA can cover it if we can't come up with some other grant money or whatever. But let's give them the order to get started and take something off our plate.
We have the appropriation from town meeting for Phase A, which should pretty much cover it. We're still a little less offset if we
Right.
use ARPA.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
the number you brought forward was the whole thing
Yeah.
and we're hoping to drop it down by
Right.
applying some ARPA to it, right?
I also think it's important that we get an assessment of TWB, so we have that in our pocket as leverage
Right.
too. Whatever we can do to hold the school committee to the fire to get their answers of that building would be in our best
Yeah.
interest, in the town's best interest.
I think we just need to get some stuff off our plate, we got
Yeah.
too much, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'll bring a motion to authorize the town administrator to execute the contract with Time Bond for Thornton Burgess Building Assessment.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Let's see if we can get them to drop the number a little bit, Brian.
Give me the red ones.
All right,
Anything else to come before the board?
Can I just bring up one challenge that I'm having?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Cable council.
Oh,
your buddy.
is he still MIA?
Yeah, he, occasionally, the last time I talked to him on the phone, Craig, you were in the office
Yeah.
about
month
3
ago.
weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and then he, we've emailed back and forth a couple times. Donna's been a CC to the email. Last week, he said he was gonna get us a memo. He said he was done his research. He was gonna get us a memo that, that night or the next morning. We haven't gotten any, we haven't gotten any.
I remember when you were talking right before the selectmen's meeting, you had him on speaker or something, right?
Yes.
3
Yeah.
weeks ago, maybe.
And that it was obvious at that point that he was talking without having done really any of the work that we had
Yeah.
asked of him to
Are we
do.
getting bills?
No. So we're
Right.
not getting billed for it, but we're also not moving forward.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty certain, and I'll double check this, but I think that 90-day extension ends probably the end of this week.
How comfortable are you to renew status quo?
If we were gonna do 10 years, if we're gonna do 10 years at status quo, I mean, I think we could do it. Or I could reach out to Rose and I don't think it's that complicated. Or maybe an attorney with our current firm knows how to do it, but we're just,
We need to.
nothing's happening.
Yeah.
It's been 90 days and nothing's happened, so.
Right.
I would move that we suspend all services with Solomon and continue on our own and have Brian run the charge with legal counsel of our own, just to get it done.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. Just, did we sign something formal with him?
Yeah.
We did.
Is there some language in there about
An opt-out.
opt-out, right?
There is. I'm sure there is.
Okay, I agree with that as long as it's in accordance with whatever was in the agreement we signed.
Right, yeah, I mean, if council's not getting back to us and they're not providing us with timely answers to things, we can't continue down this path if they're not working with us.
Is that a second?
Yes,
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anything else to come before the board?
I think we need to talk about the parade, Don, I think, so, I'm kidding. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
You can see the defeated look on Craig's body over there when